Okay, so I want to go through one of my games I've just recently played for the Ulster Chess Union. I'm playing White, Table 5. So we'll just jump right in here. We have e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6, d3, bishop e7, which is black breaking out of um, opening book, which is two knights defense, modern bishop's opening. Now, initially here for white, then um, I think I don't like lines which come down attacking this square at the minute. Um, so I think to myself, obviously there's two ways I could castle simply. Um, Obviously the square, if hit by the bishop, is giving you a check. So I could castle, or I could do what I decided to do, which is a3, which prevents that, followed by black hitting the center with d5, which actually promotes an exchange variation, which causes black to have to bring the queen out at this point. So I figure go on ahead with it. So it's e takes d5, knight takes d5, bishop takes d5, queen takes d5, followed by actually uh, the next benefit to forcing that exchange, which is two gains of tempo, which are knight c3, queen c5, and bishop e3 for white. So that was really the opening to begin with, and this is where the game really started, I think. Black plays knight to d4, I take the knight, and black plays e takes d4, and I'm knight back to e2. Bishop f6, queen d2 to enable either the long or the short. At the minute I'm thinking that I'm not quite sure which side I want to castle. I'm not sure whether black is give his solution to where he thinks he's going to attack. So I just hold off just for another little move and develop my queen to d2. And now black goes short castle, so I decide to go long. We have bishop g4, queen f4, obviously. Bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, queen b6, obviously to defend the b7 pawn because I'm hitting it. Could have defended it with a rook, I suppose. H4, rook and a to b8, g4, h6, g5, and bishop to e7. Now at this point it's critically important, I feel, in my game, from my perspective really, is that this king is in big danger at the minute. If the bishop comes down along this and takes this, and I do nothing about it, then we have mate coming. So the way I decide to counter that threat is to move my king to b1. So now when bishop takes a3, I simply just have b3, which counters it, I think, quite well. My opponent looked a little bit hazy after this. I think I give a smile. Bishop e7, back up there. G takes h6. Queen takes h6. Queen to g4. f5. I think c5 was better there, because that loses a pawn, and I get my pawn back that was just claimed there by black. Queen to e6. Wasn't too sure about this now, because it allows rook to d1, rook on d to g1, sorry, which obviously threatens mate here on g7, and also now leads into a slightly winning situation for white, I think, because bishop f6 and then knight to f4, and this promotes then bishop takes d4, knight takes e6, bishop takes f2, and then rook takes g7 check, which is pretty dangerous. obviously the king has to move, at which point we have knight takes f8. And obviously then king takes g7, but then you have another pawn winning move here with knight to e6 check. King has to move, king to h6, and that labels knight takes c7. So I think at this point then we've got a pretty good endgame really. There's quite a lot can happen here. The game's not over by a long shot. There's still a good bit of the game to play here. It could have went a bit longer, I think, but unfortunately black blundered with and enabled me to fork both king and rook, and really that was a game over at that stage. But if we play it on anyway here, we have king to h5, rook to f1, and then obviously bishop takes h4 and rook takes f5 check, king g6, rook to f1, rook c8, knight to d5, rook c6, c4, just giving a nice sharp arrowhead pawn structure, and then unfortunately it was rook e6, which leads to knight takes f4 check with the loss of the rook. King takes f5, knight takes e6, discovered check. King takes e6, and at this point now I think black's starting to feel the pressure. You can see here I've got this very good pawn structure here with our rook. I can just keep my king on white, and this bishop can have no effect on creating any pressure against my king. However, if placed correctly, it could have prevented a good strong leap with this pawns, but you can see here that the follow-up to this then is d4, king to d6, b4, b6, b5, and then a5. Now I don't know if you can see what's just happened here. I was quite excited. I sat here. I think I had maybe about 2 minutes left on my clock at this point, and I was thinking, well, I'm a piece up, so I think my opponent maybe had a couple of minutes as well. It was getting quite close in time here, and I think black was just trying to push the pawns to try and enable something with, and try and link it up with the bishop. It's obviously a dark square bishop, so there was something there, but under time pressure, I'm afraid it leads to, if everybody can see it by now, it's bishop takes a6 en passant, which leads to dangerous play, and black resigned. So that's the game. I hope you enjoyed it. If somebody has any questions or wants to leave a response or rate this, please go on ahead. Thank you.